he emerged as one of the first Rust creators to amass 1 million subscribers. Endorsed by nearly every game studio in the survival game industry, being one of the only content creators to ever have the privilege of developer-level access across all Rust servers. He had everything he could have ever wanted, until his arrest. From high-profile disputes with development studios, to relentless drama against famous creators, and a staggering loss of over 250,000 subscribers and counting, a once celebrated entertainer was now facing a profound professional crisis. This is the story of the Rust YouTuber who went to jail. Rhino Crunch.
Screw you,
A guy who doesn't give a fucking wreck,
The
nerds.
crossbow nerf needed to fucking happen.
Back in 2012, YouTube was on the rise, reshaping entertainment, and with it, its partner networks flourished. Among them, Machinima reigned as a colossal content management network, looking for creators to grow their ever-expanding empire, and it was here that we would find Aaron Warshaw, better known as Rhino Crunch. His early role as a talent acquisition manager was a clear indicator of his passion for a career in entertainment. Embarking on his YouTube journey in 2011, his early ventures featured Minecraft trolling and Battlefield guides that fueled his initial surge in popularity, but he would truly find success in the discovery of Arma 2, and more importantly, its groundbreaking new game mode, the DayZ mod. Survival games were a brand new concept. Evolving from Arma's military strategy roots, the DayZ mod was the first of its kind. The introduction of zombies, realistic survival mechanics, and a relentless permanent death system revolutionized the gaming industry. Rhino Crunch, seizing the opportunity, became one of the first to showcase this new genre through his Bandit Survival series, and saw massive growth in tens of thousands of subscribers. His eagerness to explore and expand the survival game genre earned him widespread admiration from fans, establishing himself as a beloved figure in the gaming community. Yet, as the channel's popularity soared, certain aspects of his personality began to surface, aspects that would eventually alienate a segment of his audience. This could be seen through our PlanetSide 2 creator, Energy1, who reached out for help on his channel.
But yeah, I was asking him for advice on my Be Less Derp at PlanetSide 2 videos. So I got no response from Rhino, and half a week later, today, what is his next video called? Operation Derpside 2. He never had a PlanetSide 2 video on his channel before and happened to steal the naming idea. I was being kind and complimentary to this guy, and what happens? Yeah, welcome to the internet. I know.
While this episode remained relatively under the radar, Rhino Crunch's confrontations with the developers of WarZ would make headlines. WarZ aimed to rival DayZ in the survival game arena, but they faced a barrage of criticism for its overambitious promises, an excessive emphasis on microtransactions, and even duplicating the terms of service from League of Legends, leading many to question the credibility of its game development. Rhino Crunch fearlessly voiced his concerns, unintimidated by their developers, calling out the company for taking advantage of its customers.
But if you're trying to make a good game, then let's see what you got. Why don't you show us what's up your skirt, sweetheart, instead of shaking your tail, okay? I have something against game companies that are in it for money. You know, you read in the interviews what this guy who's funding the game has to say. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. I don't believe any of it. Just because a person says something and just because a game company says something, they're just selling you something, man. I just want to see some good information because I don't like to be tricked and I don't like companies to do this to people.
For many, WarZ would ultimately be labeled a scam, plagued by issues like refusing refunds and censoring negative reviews, leading to its temporary removal from Steam. In this controversy, Rhino Crunch emerged as a highly respected figure, establishing himself as an ethical advocate for the survival game genre and prioritizing the best interest of his viewers. Rhino Crunch, feeling empowered to represent his audience, began to see controversy as a means to amplify his brand. He likely believed that engaging in more disputes could further elevate his presence online. By 2013, the DayZ mod had surged into the mainstream, elevating the ascent of Rhino Crunch's channel, which now boasted 90,000 subscribers. His significant contributions to the game's exposure did not go unnoticed by its executive developers, Dean Hall and Matt Lightfoot, who granted him early access privileges and exclusive interviews on the game's development. However, despite these privileges, Rhino Crunch grew increasingly critical of DayZ. He felt the game's creators were not being transparent with their community and were attempting to financially exploit their player base, a stance that would once again put him at odds with a major development studio.
So my question to you is, it's now January 13. What's up, man? Where's DayZ standalone?
We've gone under different aims since then.
Yes, it did, Matthew. But what's your new aim? I sat idle as words like Kickstarter and Minecraft business model were dropped in interviews. I will sit idle no more. How much exactly did you sell the DayZ mod to Bohemia Interactive for, like Matt Lightfoot told me off record? Maybe the company-wide arrogance comes from the pseudo-military and ex-military burnout wannabes who talk in 10 codes and get Desert Storm flashbacks playing their military simulator video games while wearing camouflage and treating their customers and fanbase like garbage. I felt lied to and betrayed like Judas when he kissed Jesus. The ironic part is I actually used to like this mod until the developer tried turning it into some money-hungry commercial empire.
A small number of viewers supported Rhino Crunch, but many more criticized his approach, particularly for his harsh criticism of the developers. The consensus among many felt his actions were unjustified. Other well-known creators, including Frankie on PC in 1080p, Psy Syndicate, and Jack Frags, publicly sided with Dean Hall and Matt Lightfoot, distancing themselves from Rhino Crunch's stance. As the situation escalated in the weeks to come, with the pressure mounting, he released his first apology video. But before we continue, ad time. Hair, a defining feature of mankind. Many men obsess over it, many about how they're losing it. Damn, that's rough. But sitting inside a hot room, grinding away on rust, hair becomes the enemy. Moisture builds in your hair. You're sweating everywhere, and now you're uncomfortable and probably full dead. So how do we resolve such an issue? Well, with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra by Manscaped, it can give you the confidence you really need. Like, seriously, you need it. A lot of you guys are clocking over 140 hours on rust in the past 2 weeks. I just don't know what's going on with you anymore. Tired of cutting yourself in the washroom? Well, say no more. Skin-safe technology has you covered. Look, I just dropped it in the pool. Oh no, well, it's waterproof. Like sitting in dark rooms? Look, it has LEDs now, so you can see. And all this other cool stuff you get to be clean. So take care of yourself. You need to love yourself before the girls can truly love you. Head over to manscaped.com and get your hands on the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra today. When you use my promo code JackShephard, you'll get 20% off, plus free international shipping and a free gift. Ad over, back to the video.
First of all, I would like to formally apologize to the following YouTubers and humbly ask for their forgiveness. You guys gave me a great opportunity, and I blew it because of my own ego. There's no excuse for my behavior on Twitter, YouTube, and overall unprofessionalism and lack of class handling things the way I did. You will no longer see these types of videos on my channel since I believe they bring the channel down tremendously.
The reaction from his audience was a blend of forgiveness and skepticism. While many were willing to move on, others harbored doubts about the potential reoccurrence of a similar controversy. Despite these mixed feelings, Rhino Crunch did what he could to move past the situation, and his efforts seemed to pay off as his channel continued to thrive and grow throughout 2014. Unfortunately, the incident had a lasting impact on the DayZ developers. Their willingness to share information with their creators diminished significantly, ironically leading to the very lack of transparency he had previously criticized. As his channel grew, Rhino Crunch got to enjoy early access to 7 Days to Die and being personally flown out by Sony to their headquarters to experience H1Z1. These opportunities underscored his standing as a prominent and influential figure in the gaming world. By 2015, Rhino Crunch had transitioned to creating gaming videos as a full-time job. Parting ways with Machinima, it was during this period that he discovered the experimental version of Rust. As he fell in love with the game, so did his viewers. As Rhino Crunch's popularity skyrocketed, so did Rust, with many of his videos amassing hundreds of thousands of views. Face Punch, the developers of Rust recognized his influence, and sometime in 2016, reached an agreement that positioned Rhino Crunch as one of Rust's first global moderators. This decision was influenced by his positive portrayal of the game and his active role as a streamer and player. In his new role, Rhino Crunch not only moderated servers while creating content, but also leveraged his privileges to enhance his videos with high-quality cinematic recordings. With the launch of the Rhino Crunch hoodie in the game, and the channel reaching peak viewership, it seemed he had a promising path for his future. However, Rhino Crunch reverted to his former controversial ways, which many new Rust viewers were unaware of. This was most evident in seeing a video of his support for T. Martin and Syndicate during the CSGO Lotto gambling controversy, where they promoted the site without disclosing their ownership, a situation that felt all too familiar to Rhino Crunch and his previous controversies.
There's a video by H3H3 Productions. I'll put a link in the description if you haven't seen it, basically calling out a couple top echelon YouTubers for promoting a website that they owned, which absolutely unethical. Reputations aside, they probably are going to be tarnished for a while, but Hopefully everybody forgives them, because guess what? Everybody's human, and this whole dissent that's on YouTube is just absolutely unreal. Everybody is acting like they're fucking better than everybody.
Questions began to swirl around Rhino Crunch's role in Rust when he released a video titled 100% Rocket Proof, showcasing an exploit in the game. This coincided with the game's monthly update, delaying the patch and only amplifying the issue. Concerned players voiced their frustrations on the r/playrust subreddit, questioning Rhino Crunch's ethics in relations to Rust. Initially, there was a defense from Facepunch, claiming his privileges were meant solely to enhance the production value of his videos, not for moderation. But when the news broke that Rhino Crunch had banned an emerging creator, iBlur, for stream sniping, this action sparked outrage among players who felt it was inappropriate for someone with such privileges to misuse them. Holmesy, a developer at Facepunch, intervened to defend Rhino Crunch, but faced further backlash from the community. Upon a thorough investigation, Gary Newman, the owner of Rust, and Holmesy stepped in and revoked Rhino Crunch's privileges. In response to this decision, Rhino Crunch released a video titled "Screw You, Facepunch," expressing his views on the game and the actions taken against him.
Screw you, Facepunch, you fuck! And we can agree to disagree. I can say something that you might not like, and you can take it because you're a big boy. You're not a fucking pussy, right? Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you are a pussy. But I'm going to say some things that you're probably not going to like, starting with the crossbow nerf needed to fucking happen, okay?
The crossbow nerf needed to fucking happen.
Guess what? The devs are not listening to the important shit. They're not listening to the AK being shit and the AK sights actually being off a little bit. If you were to put the AK iron sights true dead center of screen and put a dot in your middle of the screen, it's not dead center. Little shit like that to me is important. The reason I'm saying fuck you, Facepunch, is I'm mocking the community. I'm mocking how people are fucking acting in this community every time they do an update.
Rhino Crunch also ignited disputes with other prominent Rust creators, like Beachills, Sir Winner, and Vertigo, specifically over their perspectives on the state of Rust. These conflicts significantly tarnished Rhino Crunch's reputation. Alienated from both the developers and fellow content creators, Rhino Crunch eventually withdrew from the Rust community. This time, unlike past controversies, Rhino Crunch didn't backtrack on his actions, leading many to speculate that his career might be nearing its end.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've had time to reflect in this past month, and boy, have I learned a lot about myself. You see, a guy who doesn't give a fuck doesn't really give a fuck. He sure as hell doesn't take dislikes on videos personally. He doesn't take mindless fucking comments left on the goddamn internet, or even fucking response videos for that matter, seriously either. It's only a matter of time before all the guns turn into tickling machines if they continue to lean towards accessibility, aka appealing to the masses, the majority of players that couldn't build a fucking 2x2 and survive for more than 30 minutes, then the heart and soul of Rust is gone. It's shit for guys like me and you, though. We get to watch a game's gunplay change more than Caitlyn Jenner's favorite sex position, where raiding could be strong-armed without explosives, and if you built like a role player, you got wrecked like a role player. But then again, why the fuck do I care? I'm just a big fucking pussy anyway, right?
With diminishing Rust content and a drop in viewership, his future seemed uncertain. However, Rhino Crunch resiliently pushed forward, pioneering content in emerging games like PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, Escape from Tarkov, and eventually Fortnite. Rhino Crunch seemed to recognize a pattern. Controversies, while challenging, did not spell the end for his channel. Instead, they presented opportunities to transition to new games, where his impressive statistics painted a picture of a trusted, influential content creator, appealing to both viewers and game developers alike. With Fortnite's impressive rise and mass appeal, Rhino Crunch again found himself on an upwards trajectory, experiencing exponential growth. However, just as things appeared to be stabilizing, another turn of events was on the horizon.
I've been in jail for the past... No, I'm just kidding. I haven't been in jail.
Oh, he was just kidding. Or was he?
Because apparently a guy with the same exact name as Rhino Crunch got arrested for sex penetration force?
Rhino Crunch was reported to be arrested, but the details following the initial reports were scarce, leaving the circumstances of his arrest shrouded in mystery. Surprisingly, this revelation had a minimal impact on his channel's performance, possibly due to the lack of concrete information regarding the arrest. However, the event profoundly affected Rhino Crunch on a personal level. Once notorious for his explicit language and relentless critique of companies and fellow creators, Rhino Crunch experienced a dramatic shift in character. In the ensuing months, he abandoned his use of profanity and ceased his criticisms. Instead, he turned towards sharing religious teachings, focusing on insights about the Bible and Jesus Christ. It's plausible that Rhino Crunch's shift towards creating content for a Christian gaming channel was strategically aimed at engaging his younger audience and their parents. But Rhino Crunch truly believed in his preaching, so much in fact where it began to take up a substantial portion of his videos. As he navigated the expanding Fortnite scene, Rhino Crunch formed a close friendship with a fellow streamer named Dakotas. Both enjoyed a surge in popularity due to Fortnite. However, in 2018 they abruptly ceased playing together, leaving fans curious about the sudden change. Rhino Crunch later made comments about the situation, which unknown to many at the time, would mark the beginning of the decline of his career.
I guess Rhino's got to diss people to stay relevant, you know what I mean? True story about Rhino Crunch. The reason why me and Rhino Crunch stopped playing together is because Rhino tried to force me to talk about God in my videos, but I wouldn't do it. I even saved the part where you said you wanted to do a charity stream and pocket it. Ooh!
Dakotas leveled a serious accusation against Rhino Crunch, alleging that he had plotted a charity scam targeting his audience, and that their friendship had ended due to Rhino Crunch's insistence on preaching to his viewers. This allegation cast Rhino Crunch in a negative light, leading to a distancing by other Fortnite creators and a waning interest from his fanbase. Rhino Crunch, true to his form, doubled down on his stance without issuing a formal apology.
No matter what the devil's got going on in the works, and no matter who he's using to try to discredit me or falsely accuse against me or make up lies about me or rumors about me or whatever he can try to do, at the end of the day, God's righteousness is all that matters. And I'm being tried by God. This is a test.
He gradually shifted his focus from gaming to religion. Attempts to revisit his gaming roots through Escape from Tarkov, The Rise of Scum, and even a return to Rust were made, but the tide had turned, his influence had waned, and his ability to serve as a valuable promoter for gaming companies had diminished. By 2020, Rhino Crunch had significantly reduced the religious content in his videos, but the change came too late to reverse his fortunes. He was unable to reclaim the prominent position he once held in the gaming community, leading to his official retirement in 2022. By 2023, Rhino Crunch had transitioned away from his online persona, focusing on personal matters. Facing potential tax evasion issues with the IRS, he shifted his attention to his family and a new career as a personal trainer, making a significant shift from his previous life as an online celebrity. Now the question remains, did Rhino Crunch deserve his fate? Those sympathetic to Rhino Crunch might argue that his intentions were always in the right place. He called out companies he deemed suspicious, and he seemed genuinely invested in improving the games that he covered. His criticisms of DayZ, Rust, and Fortnite, in hindsight, do hold some value. DayZ standalone faced prolonged delays and neglect, Rust underwent controversial changes, and Fortnite's complexity alienated some players. His turn towards religion, in his view, was meant to positively influence his audience's lives. But those critical of Rhino Crunch could make the claim he was a hypocrite, as he often condemned the actions of others that he himself would later mirror. If Rhino Crunch had managed to keep his ego in check, it's plausible he could have made a successful return to games like Rust, DayZ, or Fortnite, provided he had left these communities in a more professional manner. Additionally, some argue that Rhino Crunch used his newfound religious focus as justification for his poor behavior, and the perception Rhino Crunch left with many developers likely reduced their willingness to engage and connect with their player base and other content creators. Love or hate him, Rhino Crunch's role in popularizing the survival game genre cannot be overlooked, and he will likely be remembered as one of the most controversial figures in its history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.